But unfortunately, it looks as if there are loads of opposition to the little progress that we have made.
I thought it was applauded when this bill was signed.
Well,
into law.
You know, in Yoruba language, there's something they say, "Majulo monwenye," be dancing, I'm looking at your back. Some people are busy trying to ensure that even the little gains we have made in 2 years of implementing the law, the 2023 law, is reversed.
Who are these people?
Well, I remember on what platform we asked who are the people that sponsored this amendment bill. Minister said he doesn't know. All the chairmen of the various discos said they don't know. All the leaders of the various national institutions that are beneficiaries of the amendments, all of them say they don't know. They are not the ones. So a set of ghosts. I'm sorry to say, sponsored amendment that is about to reverse the gains that we have made. Either we like it or not, revenue has doubled between 2023 and today on account of the Band A that was created. Most states are saying, forget about Band A. Let's approach improvement tactically. We'll make those outstanding liabilities part of the liabilities that will pass on to the states.
This is confusing. So in one instance, the federal wants to take over the powers of the state, but would now divulge or move the liabilities of the federal to the state.
Because tactically it will be moved to the customers. The way pricing is done, it will be moved tactically to the customers.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Coffee Table with Ogunleye, where we break down complex economic, business, and finance issues bordering on the Nigerian economy. We speak to very important people who are at the heart of making Nigerian economy move in the direction that we all want it to be. We basically, on this show, speak with them and ask them questions related to key economic issues, particularly sectors that are important to all of us and sectors that they have expertise in. And I am super, super pleased to have in our midst the Honorable Commissioner for Energy and Mineral Resources of the richest states in Nigeria, Lagos State.
Richest states.
Mr. Biodun Ogunleye. Oga.
Thank you, bro. It's good to be here.
Good to see you.
I'm
Good
so excited
to
be here and be part of how you are breaking it down for the nation so that people can understand very complex concepts in very straightforward and an easy way. And we hope to contribute a little today.
Thank you very much. And it's such a great pleasure having you here because we're going to be discussing energy. I know your ministry covers energy and mineral resources, but I think we're going to focus on energy today. And I know it's because I know you for quite a while now, for some years. In fact, over almost 20 years already. And I know this is one area, as much as you're a commissioner of energy, you've been passionate about power way, way, way longer than a lot of people.
Long time ago. Long time ago.
I see about those trenches days when they were doing RCM and all that, you were into it. Wow. A lot of people probably don't know that. And but how do you see the power sector, how far have we come from those days when privatization actually started? I think it was during Obasanjo.
2005.
2005. Yes, it's like 20 years now.
Yeah, 20 years now. Saw the beginning of the attempt by federal government to unbundle the vertically integrated NEPA, PSCN, and turn them into companies that private sector can take over, run, and then inject capital help us to ensure that most of the challenges that we see out there are resolved, and we have a new culture of power being available across the nation. Is 20 years. I would say to you that the journey has not been as expected, if I want to be honest. A lot of us that were there then can say that what we envision is nowhere near where we are today. So you want to ask me what are the things we are not seeing?
Yeah, what were you expecting? Because I recall it was just 3 years after GSM came on board.
Yes.
Then. So see how far
how
we've
far
come with
GSM people have
telco
gone,
and how far we are with power. So what have been the things that you think hasn't really worked out?
Now, the first thing is this: we have not been able to say farewell to that culture of blackout. The penetration of GSM, you know what the numbers look like today. The penetration of electricity, you know what it looks like today. I will confess to you, industries are moving out of Nigeria on account of our inability to provide economically viable electricity for them to do their business. So they find a couple of countries near us more viable for them to go. Even when those countries are even importing electricity from us, it's sad.
I like the way you say so economically viable.
Yes.
Because I always tell people there's 24/7 power. It just depends on what you're paying for. So what do you mean by economically viable?
Okay. Economically viable means by the time you apply it, you should be able to sell your goods or your services to the audience that will be willing to pay for it.
When you say apply, that's power. The cost of power.
The cost of power. Well, the cost of power that you use in your production should be able to enable you to make profit after you have you have finished with your production. What you have is a scenario where people need to use diesel. And by the time they use diesel, they mix that with the cost of 2-3 hours of supply from the grid. It's horrendous. It doesn't make sense. And for most household, estimated billing and all manner of and I need to be careful with words now. All manner of
shenanigans,
doubtful payment required on account of your transformer is owing, your street is owing, one neighbor is owing. Those kind of wonderful whatever are not in the best interest of the customers. And if you actually check, maybe a lot of us, it's time for us to go off grid because the solar technologies, the renewable technologies are becoming more and more stable now. And if you check the numbers against your 300, so a lot of estates in this Lekki Axis are billing people at an average of 350. And
per kilowatt hour.
Per kilowatt hour.
Yeah.
And if you check that against, in some places you pay as much as, your bill can be as much as 300,000-500,000 naira per month. Yeah, the power is available, but it's very expensive. How many households can actually sustainably afford that? So if you check, maybe it's better for you to have your own standalone renewable system that meets your basic need, and you are able to say, I have my supply. I don't need to be impoverished by this lack of grid supply. Yes,
or grid power supply. Anyway, so one of the things that we've that has happened recent years now. So we're now fast forwarding to more recent times. Of course, we've seen the privatization of 2014, 2014, and see where we are 10 years down the line. A lot of what we had expected. I was also a major stakeholder in this for years, and a lot of things that we expected we haven't seen, both from even the investors' perspective, the consumers, government, everybody. Things just didn't really work out. And then last 2 years ago, the president signed the Electricity Act 2023, and everyone thought, or at least at the time believed this was a game changer. And a lot of people still believe it's a game changer. But it's 2 years since then. How has this changed how Lagos State views electricity today?
Okay. Now, 2 years
Of course,
ago,
in terms of control.
no, it's more than 2 years now. A few years ago, late President Buhari signed a couple of clauses that allow states to be in charge of a few more activities in our constitution, and one of them is electricity. And then we had the electricity bill that sort of replaced the 25 Act, and that 2023 bill provided legal clarity, provided a proper framework, defined roles for people, and liberalized the market so that new entrants can come in. It also focused on clean power, decarbonization, and those kind of issues. It also says, okay, if you want to invest, these are the routes, and these are the rules that will guide your investment, and also give us the opportunity for us to segment the wholesale or national market from the state market. Now, based on that, states were given regulatory oversight over electricity in their geographic boundaries, according to the law. Now, each state, therefore, now have the opportunity to take charge of the destiny of their people, the development agenda within their state.
Okay.
And I believe part of the things we were supposed to see is that with all that, the next thing that should happen is that the regulatory oversight in the state should dovetail into states being able to attract direct investment. Because the states can now say, okay, you have invested in this segment of my network, this you are able to get your reward like this. But unfortunately, it looks as if there are loads of opposition to the little progress that we have made.
I thought it was applauded when this bill was signed into law.
You know, in Yoruba language, there's something they say, "Majulo monwenye," be dancing, I'm looking at your back. Some people are busy trying to ensure that even the little gains we have made in 2 years of implementing the law, the 2023 law, is reversed.
Who are these people?
Well, I remember on what platform we asked who are the people that sponsored this amendment bill. Minister said he doesn't know. All the chairmen of the various discos said they don't know. All the leaders of the various national institutions that are beneficiaries of the amendment, all of them said they don't know. They are not the ones. So a set of ghosts, I'm sorry to say, sponsored amendment that is about to reverse the gains that we have made. Either we like it or not, revenue has doubled between 2023 and today on account of the Band A that was created. Most states are saying, forget about Band A. Let's approach improvement stage by stage. If I've improved a particular area, hey guys, this is your new tariff. Let's deal with it like that. Now, over and above that, most of our states have formed their own regulatory authority. Let these functions go to life. Let's see how it will go. And then, if you also check, generation capacity that we have declared that is in use has also started going up. Enugu assigned 1,000 additional capacity in coal fired plants. Lagos is pursuing an ambitious 6,000 megawatt of additional capacity to be made available on our grid. All these were not there before. These states were not, and power, it takes a while for things to get sorted out. If and only if the stakeholders can come together and take the development of Nigeria as being more important, and also look at the future of our children and say, hey, we should not pass on this culture of darkness to our children. We all should come together and look at how best to attract investment while protecting investment that is on ground. Nobody is saying...
Okay, so what is this? What are these amendments that you're looking for? Is it possible to maybe break it down for us?
Yeah, I'll break down the amendments that they are looking for.
Okay.
The first one, and the one that is most unrighteous, permits me to use that word, is most unrighteous, is to say we want to reverse the autonomy granted the states for them to have their own regulatory oversight over their geographic territory.
I thought this was already a constitutional issue. Unfortunately, sorted out in the Constitution.
Unfortunately, a single document from the House is seeking to reverse that. That is what you have in that's one of the clauses. I don't want to use the word obnoxious. One of the clauses we can't understand in the...
Unrighteous, as you said it.
Okay. I mean... One of the clauses we really can't understand, and what is the use for it. Now, Section 2 also seeks to subordinate state laws to federal law, which was the reverse in the 2023 Act. Now,
what does that mean?
It simply means that the states don't have authority again. States cannot say, this is how I want to get it done. Whereas the previous law allowed each state to use their local methods, procedures, available feedstock, investment and all that to solve local problems. So this new law is saying, no, you can't do it because once federal has a position on those issues, you can't take any. And anybody who knows about development knows that it's better for electricity to come in aggregations. It should come from the grassroots. And where there are shortfalls, let the federal, the wholesale market deal with that, help us to fine-tune that one. We need to start saying, we have said farewell to a culture that will say to us, the whole nation does not have light because of a national grid collapse. And the only way we can do that is for us to have embedded assets that takes care of the need of areas within within each geographic area. Now, let me also tell you one other thing that is also a concern to us. Now, we've had an accumulation of subsidy-related, unpaid subsidy-related, whatever, about 5 billion. There's a clause in part 15 or something that statically will make those outstanding liabilities part of the liabilities that will pass on to the states.
This is confusing. So in one instance, the federal wants to take over the powers of the state, but would now divulge or move the liabilities of the federal to the state.
Because statically it will be moved to the customers. The way pricing is done, it will be moved statically to the customers. And the customers now are supposed to be, the states now are supposed to be the one in direct charge of the state. So link it up together, the states will have challenge with recovery and starting out their markets, except for states that really have strength and have the technical know-how to deal with the matters arising on those issues. Then you also have the scenario where NEMSA and a few federal agencies are now being brought back to enforce technical issues down the stream. Let's talk about practicality. In the streets of Ajangbadi, in the corners of Oshodi, how will somebody that come from Abuja come and certify the not only lines, not only the junction buses, the transformers, the outgoing lines of various installations that our distribution companies have put in place.
Sorry to interject, but I mean, I remember speaking to one of the commissioners at the national level who had buzzed me following one article that was published on Aerometrics, and he vehemently denied that what they were trying to do was usurping the state's power to regulate. Says that is not what is on the amendment bill. He also did touch on this issue of NEMSA and says, look, in the United States, for example, or even in Europe, everybody uses the same sockets, and the standard when it comes to every single thing that is used around the country. That is basically what they are trying to do. Is it any different from your own understanding?
Very different. National standard is different from technical enforcement.
Okay.
So, do national standard. Okay? But get our concurrence on it. At least notify us that this is the new national standard.
Okay.
Now, but in terms of ensuring that that national standard is what is obtainable, hey, allow the state institutions to deal with it. That's what we are saying on that one.
Okay.
And there's no need for us to start. I don't want to talk about the new provisions about labor and all that. That is a time bomb. Yes, there's a section that's now, these businesses are now being owned by private people.
Mm-hmm.
Why do we want to say they can have unions? Okay, we want to remove the history. They have always had unions, and governments still have a lot of a good percentage of stake in there. Okay, if we say they can't have unions, okay, so how do we clear the historic challenges that the unions are still saying now on the table? That's not my business. Let me just face my own business. Now, Section 63(7) revoke the state's powers to license IEDNs and IETNs.
What did it
Where
mean?
framework, independent electricity distribution network and independent transmission network, which relates to mini grids and a lot of those activities.
So basically saying that states can't license them anymore.
States
That's
can
the federal that can
license them. Section 637. I mean, what we are saying is this: don't create regulatory vacuum. This is my geographic area. Leave me with the activities that are obtainable in my geographic area. Anytime, any activity that I'm doing that crosses my boundary, then me and you will have interface and we should be able to deal. Now, another confusing one is that it creates an intrastate right for market participants to, if you are taking your supply from the national grid, you don't have to report to the State Electricity Regulatory Commission. I'll tell you the truth. This is directly saying we don't want growth, we don't want development, because you are simply saying all the discos should neglect their state regulatory whatever, and will create some crisis, because some ambitious states will take the bull by the horn and create their own lines and all that, and find a way to make things cheaper for the people of their state. Whereas all of us can come together and work in such a way that at the end of the day, the national supply is always there, the local supply is growing all across and in embedded manner. So the discos have more revenue. And I am for that. Let each area be able to have what I believe is like a base load for the discos to optimize their networks. And let the national grid come in to also enhance that capability that will have been created by each state administration. So those are the issues that we see in this amendment bill, and we believe that. And then I must mention, let me mention this. Hey, why go about it in a very funny way? If we are all, if we think this is the right thing to do, let's have conversations about it.
But why can't we have that conversation with the senator that is probably pushing the bill?
We are doing everything now to make sure that we sit with him. We are ready. We are very ready. And speaking on behalf of the Forum of Commissioners of Power in this state, we are ready. We are looking forward to the public hearing, and then we are looking forward to a robust debate, and we pray that they will take our views into consideration. Otherwise, all of us will just be asking ourselves, how come Nigeria never got this right? Because our generation will live and pass on this same problem to the next. This is 20 years, and we are not making progress.
Okay, Honorable Commissioner, I mean, I've heard you talked about the amendment bill and even the act. But I'm just saying, so for those who are watching us saying, you know what, I really don't care about the amendment bill or the act. The current setup of power in Nigeria just doesn't work. Whether you have the amendment bill or whether you have the existing act, what is stopping states, like you said, from being ambitious and deciding to just, you know what, we're going to license our own distribution companies, we'll give them right of way, let them start to run embedded power. Again, and I'm saying this on the backdrop of the fact that Lagos State alone consume about 25-30%, if I'm not mistaken, of the power, at least 40% of the power consumed or demanded in this country, Nigeria today. So why do you
allocated 40%?
40%? Why do you need the grid then?
Why do we need the grid?
Yes. You're allocated 40%, but you don't get up to that.
We don't get up to that.
Yeah. So why do you need the grid?
We need the grid because there are no embedded assets within the Lagos geographic area.
Why can't we do that?
Why we can't do it is that we need to securitize the repayment for new assets that we want to bring to the grid. And for that to happen, there are all manners of structures that currently controls the revenue of discos that result into what we call waterfall within the industry.
I understand that.
Now, so somebody needs to respect the fact that things are changing or have changed. The states need to get involved with those waterfall platforms. The states wish to bring in additional generation capacity needs to be respected. Those new generation capacity needs to come with first line charge on. If we're able to get that agreement on the table, states will now be able to attract new capacity into their network.
But isn't that still riding on the same field structures that we have? Like a lot of people have said, they said, look, the current design of the sector can't work. You've just mentioned legacy issues, waterfall, which means the discos today have obligations to pay to embed, they have obligations to pay to the market operator, they have obligations to pay to their, to the central bank, and every other person in their line of waterfall. So how then is it possible for that same disco to be the one, or for that same entity as currently construed, to be the one to want to provide the power of the future that we all need? Why do they have to be the one to run this embedded structure that we're looking for?
Okay, so the challenge we have is that electricity is a physical business.
Yeah.
It is a territory. Now, if you say that we're going to go and run new lines into virtually all the areas in Lagos, we will spend a lot of time running those new lines and money. Whereas we can make those lines, existing lines, more efficient and do a win-win for all the parties. But it must be real. It cannot be paperwork for it to be sustainable. So I'm simply saying we have a new asset going into Ajangbade. And that new asset requires repayment of this magnitude. And even the disco may not even be the one in charge of retailing within Ajagbadi area. It possibly there possibly have been whatever enough to allow new set of people to invest in the lines, to invest in metering resources, recoup their money, and they have the territory for quite a while. So if we're able to get those improvements to happen, and I believe it will, between regulatory tools and negotiations by the parties, we should be able to get to that point. But where it becomes impossible, this what they are trying to reverse via the amendment bill will just compound an already bad situation.
But the amendment bill hasn't been passed yet, right? It's still a long way from being passed. I mean, technically.
It's not a long way from being passed. It's just one reading.
Okay.
They are targeting.
They haven't done here. When are they targeting this year or
they are targeting this year?
This year. Wow.
Yes.
In the next few weeks before they go on Christmas break.
Before Christmas break, they are targeting this year. And we are also not sleeping. We will be there. All of us will.
But the president has the power to revoke this. Or not to assent to it.
I believe that somebody needs to tell the president what is happening. Because I believe Mr. President has not been properly briefed on this issue. I believe somebody is trying to be smart by half, or a group of people are trying to be smart, and because the same person that fought for state autonomy in this space cannot be the same person now revoking states from having their space. The same person that I served as the expert witness on the Enron case and the Lagos State government case against the federal government. Hey, I know what you went to court for. I have the particulars. And I can tell you, Mr. President is not part of this story. It's a group of people that believe that they have his heirs and they can go about with one long story of Mr. President. This is what Mr. President wants. But somehow we believe Mr. President will get to hear the true story, the true implication of what they are trying to do. The challenge is that if you ask them now, all the obnoxious clauses, all the funny clauses in the law, they won't discuss it. They will focus on one or two things. We don't want states to be bothering themselves about regulation, about standards. Standards will come as national accepted. They have all the points they want, and some of those points we agree. But hey, let us never get to the point where we cannot allow or encourage additional investments to come in. And another hypothesis is that, okay, states should make that money that they want to put in and developing electricity available to the discos. They will do a good job out of it. For crying out loud, we have done that in time past. We have bought transformers, we have bought this, we have bought that. Where are all of that stories? So let's face the reality. Let's allow additional brains, not just money, brains to come into the sector. And the improvements that we see, no matter how isolated, will come together and become a big whole at the end of the day.
So what stops, for example, company ABC from dropping an embedded power plant in estate XYZ, and then the customers of estate ABC XYZ become customers of company ABC, and then company ABC deals with the disco directly? Why can't that work? Because I give you an example, Honorable Commissioner, where I live, that's exactly what happens. So for the last 2 years, we've had 24/7 power. Power doesn't blink. All we do is that some guy provides, expensive diesel power generator within the estate, and then most of the the mini, smaller cluster of estates are all customers to this guy. And then he takes over all our transformers and then deals with the disco directly, right? And then basically does a blend. Why can't this model be replicated across at a scale that makes power cheaper? Do we need laws to make this happen? Because I believe that these are all things that fall within the powers of a state.
Okay. You are learned in this business.
Yes.
So let's open it up.
Okay.
What they do is what you call blended.
Yes.
So I need to have a link to somebody in the disco to assure that supplies will be coming in. And whether you like it or not, it's not word of mouth. It's not the bill I'm paying at the end of the month. That is that link. Let us put that under the table. Now, let us go ahead and say 300 plus. I mean, about how much are you paying?
Yeah, almost about 385 or so per kilowatt hour.
In the name of God. How many of my people in Ajangbade, in Mushin, in Shomolu, where my votes are, how many of them can pay this type of amount? I just want to be, I want to be very practical.
Yes, but I just explained.
So
it can be cheaper.
No, it cannot be cheaper.
It can be cheaper. So the reason why we're paying that much is one, the provider uses diesel power generator. And then two, the power from the grid is, as you've known for the last few months, at a 1 year low. We're doing 25-30% power from the grid since the rain started. It's been pretty bad, at least around this Lekki axis where we stay. So most times the person uses generator to do it. But I believe that if this person uses gas power generator, the price will be cheaper, because between 380 and so-called band A price of 250, it's not that much. So why is it not possible for people like this to have access to cheaper power generation at a modular level that can still, I mean, we don't, this say, it can be replicated gradually and then it spreads across everywhere. Exactly
what we're saying. What we're saying is this: Disco, take out a major substation with 5-10 feeders. Let's plug in an asset that can give us gas-fired plants between 50 and 100 megawatts. So we can say that VI is resolved. Anytime the load in VI is going up or the asset has an issue, the National Grid steps in.
But this sounds logical. Why won't discos agree to this? Well, because you're paying them distribution use of service, isn't it? So what's the risk to them?
Okay. I want to be careful now because in this position, I have not had the opportunity of having conversations around it. But in my previous life, the discos don't understand distribution use of service charges. They don't understand it. They assume that you have to pay them their full tariff and then make a premium on the customers. Whereas what we are saying is that the new producer should be as close as possible. His final output into the local grid should be as close as possible as to what we can obtain from the national grid.
When you say close as possible, your point is if a new producer,
230.
So the price between the new producer and the existing disco price should be close to each other.
Very close. It should not be, and that also assumes that within that we have taken care of your distribution use of system charges, and we have taken care of his own cost of generation, which you also get because of the other you get from the other end, and it's a standard charge that the discos have to remit all along. So there's a need for the discos to open up their heart and see the incremental margin and not necessarily incremental volumes. I don't know if I'm making sense.
I understand you. I understand.
And that is where that's why it becomes challenging.
But do you think customers really mind to a large extent the tariff vis-a-vis stable power supply? Because I mean, I would think that at some point customers will prefer stable power supply, even if it's slightly more expensive. But I do know, at least from my own experience, I do know that on the long run, they now start to look for cheaper power supply. So why don't we go for, because it appears over the years, and I'm speaking in general now, not just because you're here as a commissioner, in general, we remember when GSM started, it was pretty expensive at the start, and then later it started becoming cheaper. And that sometimes is how markets work. So if, for example, discos are stubborn enough not to want to reduce their distribution use of service, but the guys who are providing this embedded power are doing it at a level where it's enough for them to be cost reflective. So what then that means is that the customers are paying slightly higher, I believe, which is what you're trying to avoid, are paying slightly higher, but they're getting 24/7 power. Doesn't that, to a large extent, at least meet the goal? And then as we go on, these prices can go down. Why don't we do that?
Okay. A few challenges. The first one is, are these customers metered?
They should be metered.
That's a false premise. The discos must be, or they may create partners that will ensure 100% metering in their space. That's the first thing that needs to be in place. Once 100% metering is in place, the next thing you are bothered about is demand side management. How do we educate the people to ensure that they just don't continue to leave lights on, this on and that, and start crying at the end of each month that, oh, no, it's a Joe. So if it is a prepaid system and proper education, we will adjust our behavior and will behave better. Okay, now, the other thing I want you to notice this. It is not everybody that have inelastic capacity.
Understood.
When it comes to what they can pay for electricity. Some people are still on minimum wage.
I understand.
Now, if you take that into context, it simply means there are lots of people that are not in a position to pay for 300 and something for electricity. So, as government, our focus is to try and get the various segments of the society to be happy. Those who can and will be able to pay for 350, they too will be happy if we can deliver it at 280.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that I hear you, but I'm saying, okay, there are neighborhoods in this Lagos today that are capable to pay a premium for power, provided it is 24/7. And this setup doesn't necessarily need to depend on the disco. I've given you an example. So a franchisee comes in without even the disco. These things are happening already.
If you don't have an arrangement with the discos, if you don't have an arrangement with them, they will go to court. They will stop your operation.
It's happening already.
But they will stop your operation.
No, I give you an example. It's happening. I will tell you how it's happening. So you come in, you come into an area, maybe French Colony, any of these big estates, and then you're paying the disco on the transformer level. Disco gets his 100% revenue of the power that is serving. Then within that estate, there's an embedded power. So the person providing, the franchisee providing the power, meters all the customers there. the discos don't mind. It's happening.
See,
why can't state government push this model?
It's the same. No, we can't push that model. And I'll be honest with you, because that model is exploitative. We can't push it. It's a model that will deliver, that's delivering. It's actually delivering.
It's delivering 24/7
It's delivering between 350 and 500.
Yes, depending on where you live.
Depending on where you live and number of people that are concerned and how many hours of public
grid power you're getting.
Public power that is coming to your bus bar. So is that what government is about? No. We must make power available sustainably. I know of an estate where there are residents who can afford it, but there are residents who simply cannot afford it. And I know of one that moved out of an estate of Chevron. He has to move because he can't afford 300. No, the rate now moved to about 700 at one particular time. Now, see.
So what works then?
What will work is for all parties to say that, to recognize the fact that we have a shortfall in supply. And we need to make sure that we solve this shortfall by allowing additional assets to come in. Now, I take the point that instead of having complex revenue assurance model, the discos can simply collect money for bulk supply, and the provider collect money for the rest of whatever.
For the downstream.
And then it settles at that point. That will solve the problem. But it will not. You see, all these small plants all over the place also have environmental challenges. And we need to also make sure that we balance that out. Just try and imagine if within most of our injection substations, we're able to locate 50, 100, and we service a couple of feeders from far away from people's homes. The noise level will go down. It will be a lot cheaper. And whole neighborhood, discos, everybody it will be a win-win for everybody.
I mean, I agree with you. That would obviously be the logical or a more sustainable solution, but it's not happening. And like you've rightly described, you've seen that there are now that with all these problems you're having. We've had 2 years now of the electricity bill before this current amendment one that they are discussing. So we have 2 years. What has changed in those 2 years?
What has changed?
Have we been able to locate one generator in one of these injection substations as maybe some kind of proof to show that it works? Because I know some discos fight against it.
Yes, it's not it's a matter of fact. But I believe is in between self-preservation and not understanding what the business is about. For me, it's a margin business. And the margin play can only be driven by volumes. You can imagine if instead of supplying for 3-4 hours in a day, if they're able to do 24 hours, either you like it or not.
Of course, the revenue will be higher.
Revenue will be higher. But their worry is this. Somebody else is taking the bottom line in their own territory. I'm sorry. He's bringing new assets. He has gas bills to pay. All right? But they don't seem to see that one.
But at the point of locating a generator in a substation, is that discuss jurisdiction? Isn't that within transmission to allow for something like that to happen?
Okay. It will be a combination of whose jurisdiction that substation is. Is it 132? Is it 33? Is it 330? And in our case, we have several land that we're also looking at allowing embedded assets to come on so that we can inject into an appropriate substation. So with that, we don't really need to be fighting anybody inside their switch yard or something. But from wherever the plant is, it can start with 100 and start helping to ensure stable supply is achieved. Our goal is to try and say, in the following areas, we have done 1 year, we have done 2 years, we have done 3 years of zero blackout. And we believe that the next few days, Mr. Governor will do a couple of groundbreaking, and we believe with the support, with the cooperation of the DISCO, not support, with the cooperation of the DISCOs and the necessary regulatory tools, we should be able to ensure that these assets come on stream and all the parties are able to work together to deliver to the people of Lagos.
What's the quantum of power we're looking at here?
You know, Lagos has an ambitious plan, and it is both renewables and gas-fired. And for us, 2 gig is like a good start to take care of some of these shortfalls. And the locations are spread all over the city. So we are going to sit with them.
So 2,000 megawatts, basically.
Yeah, 2,000 megawatts of power. If that is added to what we're able to get from the national grid.
So is this going to be rolled out in tranches? Are we 100 megawatts, 100 megawatts, or is it 2,000 megawatts at?
No. There are several spots. The target is let nobody come up with less than 50, 100 megawatts all over the city.
Okay. Is this public-private sector led?
Public-private sector. The state government is not signing the check, but state government is saying, we know this opportunity exists. We'll give you all the support you need to make it happen. And we have received tremendous endorsements from the private sector.
Okay. I mean, time is almost running out, but a few more questions before we go. I know you're a very busy person. Recently licensed the 2 DISCOs. We saw that in the news. And it appears there were also offshoots of the current Ikeja Electric and a co-distribution company. Could you explain what that is? Are they now different companies operating, or is it the same company operating under different licenses? It was a bit confusing to some of our readers.
Okay. The law provided for the DISCOs to incorporate their businesses in each state in new names. And those new names are the ones that will be licensed by the...
Why did you have to do that? It's almost like saying Guinness should incorporate in another state.
Electricity is a physical business. It's not Guinness. Guinness is trucking. Electricity is geographic boundary. So what you do and how you behave in Lagos is clearly different from what you do and how you behave in Ogun State.
I mean, isn't that the same for some businesses as well?
No, it's not.
Transportation businesses. I mean,
no.
There's a LASG governs you in a different way versus maybe other states transportation.
And Ogun State. No, let me assure you of something. Okay. With time, there will be differences in the regulatory deliverables and oversight functions.
So this means that Ikeja Electric will exist as a company in Lagos and as a company in Ogun State. And then similar, so let's even go to maybe states like in Enugu where it covers a lot of this. So they're going to have companies set up?
Yes, they have various companies. So they become an old co. They become an old co. Because, okay.
Why are banks not doing that then?
The tariff, no, they tried it. Are you forgetting? They tried it.
No, I mean, like, for example, it's the same Zenith Bank everywhere.
No,
so it's
no.
Zenith it's not Zenith Bank Limited. Zenith Bank was limited.
No, product differentiation. Zenith has the arm that is into stockbroking and all that. Another arm that's into registrar and all those functions.
The bank is the same everywhere.
Same thing here.
Yeah, so this power on
the old co, Ikeja Electric, as an holding company, will continue to be there.
Okay, so the one that is now registered as a company in Lagos State, is it going to be different from, it's not the same electricity it's going to be selling?
It's selling electricity within Lagos.
Okay.
The boundaries that it has between Lagos and Ogun State may not have meter before, but we now have to ensure that meters are in those positions.
Okay.
And there may be regulatory issues and oversight functions differences between Lagos and Ogun State.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So, metering, I know Lagos State, for a fact, has been involved in metering in Lagos State, in metering Lagos consumers for years in partnership with discos, different ways they've tried to achieve this. It really hasn't worked. Is there a better way to meter customers other than relying on discos? And we also know that even discos themselves have struggled with metering, even in areas where they have metered their customers. In the few areas where discos have metered customers, they have encountered losses in those areas. So it's either because of theft or maybe because of poor metering or because of technology, I don't know, but they've somehow recorded losses in highly metered areas. So is this a challenge of being too big and maybe you're not really able to manage metering in some areas? Or is it about time Lagos State says, you know what, when it comes to metering, let franchises do the metering and then franchises pay the discos off on the transformer level? Isn't that a model that could work someday?
I want to remind you of what both of us should call the Apata feeder experience.
Yes. Okay.
Now, some private revenue cycle manager was deployed to resolve Apata feeder.
Apata feeder, that's in Shomolu. Yeah.
And revenue went up. Number of paying customers went up. But immediately the company noticed that this feeder is now doing well. They wanted to put in meters. We begged, we requested, we did everything possible. Let's put the meters for you. Because we're the ones that know where these guys are. We're the ones that open up the kind of worm in this neighborhood. Somehow, within the disco, they didn't agree. Somehow, disco deploy plenty of meters, plenty of whatever, and it was badly done. So, the solution, as far as I'm concerned, is DT by DT metering by the distribution companies. Down the stream, let them deploy small companies that will pledge some instrument for the amount that is expected to be collected in those areas. And they have a mandate to meter everybody in that area over 90, 180, or whatever number of days that is agreeable. I know the state governments can support this metering.
So why is this not happening? Why can't the state government use this powers?
Remember that the discourse just finally got in on the same page with the government some few days ago. So you should see us working together to enhance activity on the field, which is where the problem is. The problem is, I'm sorry, but one, too big to fail. Two, it's not something that can be done by staffs and contractors that have no stake in the business.
So discos basically are not good for metering then? They can't meter?
Ooh.
As in discos are not
no,
good
they are too big. They are too big to deal with it. You know, the devil is in the details. You need someone that believes in the income coming from a DT, that income of 500,000, 1 million naira is so important to him. You need that guy. You need that small company.
So that's like franchising then?
Yeah. We just need to change the model. Once we change the model, the guy will chase everybody and ensure that money comes in. Because he has pledged a security for everything that comes into that transformer. And after 2-3 months, and he gets a debit from his bank, he sits with his disco partners, and they work out how to give him another room for 1 or 2 months so that he can recover. He will be on the street chasing everybody. But you leave it to somebody who has nothing but a big boy with staff, whatever. The installer just go and come and tell him stories.
So is there a framework for this coming up? I mean, that will be shared soon.
I believe the regulators are at work. And
regulators, that's the Lagos State Electricity Regulatory Commission.
They're at work and they'll come up with what we need to do. And the law is clear, it's 100% metering. And within that context of 100% metering, we must encourage discos to...
Is there a timeline for this 100% metering?
The law says immediately the law is signed. That's what the law says. So the regulator will have to find a way to ensure that we move to compliance as fast as possible.
Okay, Honorable Commissioner, we did talk about renewables, and we've seen Lagos State at the forefront of adopting renewables way more than a lot of countries, at least from the data that we're seeing. How is the state supporting renewables so far? And is there an idea of the installed capacity of renewables in Lagos State today versus where you're going to?
Okay, I can tell you that we have installed renewables in about 120 primary schools, secondary school, boarding houses. Of our 32 general hospitals, 8 already have functional solar-powered facility. Community health centers, we have like 200 or something of them. We should have about 80 of them having one type of renewable facility or the other. In terms of our own offices and those kind of facilities, I can also confirm to you that about 40% are already migrated to renewable infrastructure. So I see a window for us to do more. Particularly, we have a partnership with the Rail Electrification Agency of the federal government. And then we are also now working on shift to renewables. It's a project we are going to be launching soon.
What does that mean?
Shift to renewables simply says, hey, maybe the discos are not of value to you. Maybe you're in locations where it doesn't make sense or something. We are positioning banking institutions and certified installers to ensure that you're able to install credible renewable systems in your homes. So the first thing we are first going beyond proof of concept. We are going to massive implementation all across our facilities. And we're encouraging as many people as possible.
Including private sector?
Yes. We're encouraging. I'm
just figuring out, so how's this going to work? So if I wanted to move to renewable, is that do I apply to is there any organization
there's a desk that is opening in the ministry. It's called the RED desk. RED. RED, okay. Renewable Energy Desk.
Okay.
The desk is principally been designed to ensure that you have access to both funding, quality products, and good installers. And then you can also combine your own installation and get it installed for you in a matter of days.
So I'm believing this red desk will have a directory of all installers,
It's a
all the
marketplace.
registered.
It's a marketplace for everybody and everything we are doing that is available within our geographic area in that space.
Interesting. And this is this going live when?
In a few days. It should be launched by Mr. Governor in a few days.
Is there any target in terms of the amount of renewable capacity you're expecting with this project?
Well, I will not. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm trying to remember. The figures are not just coming,
Okay.
but I can assure you that we are well over 3 gig now in terms of all that we have deployed, and in terms of projects that we have. ILTV8 is also. The Ikeja station is also running renewables. We have several of our facilities.
What about solar farms? Any plans for solar farms for Lagos State?
Okay. So, of our 2 gig, 1 gig is expected to come from renewables. So we have dedicated spaces that we are trying to put in place, grid-connected renewable infrastructures. So those are solar farms. We also did another wonderful study with Orlando Clean Energy, and they showed us that windmills have a lot of potentials, and we're also focusing on ensuring that we have that penetrate also. At least in spaces where you have small devices, so that night times and period of low radiation, your solar system does not collapse completely.
Okay, we'll close with this, Honorable Commissioner. In a world where the Electricity Act is not amended as you would prefer, and where the DISCOs and all the players in the power sector finally align with some of the wishes of the State Electricity Commission, especially Lagos State, when do you envisage that Lagosians will see 24/7 power? Is it within 1 year of this alignment? Is it 2 years? Is it 6 months? Like in your
3-4
world?
years.
3-4 years.
3-4 years.
That's short.
I'll tell you why. It takes about 2 years to put together a lot of these embedded assets. It takes about 2 years from breaking ground, funds closure, to moving equipment in and all that. It takes about 2 years. And like everything Nigerian, a lot of people play the wait and game, the
Wait and see game.
Wait and see game. And then I believe that once they see that this is working, they will have a flood. Everybody will move in. Once they see that these guys have been able to collect, the revenue is assured in like one or two years, everybody will move in.
Do you think there's money to do this?
There is money.
What sort of, we're talking about trillions here.
Okay. I don't want to mention names, but let me assure you of something. If we have alignment with the DISCOs, if we also have alignment with the federal institutions that are involved in these processes, Lagos, with private partners, will be able to get 3 gig on the network within that period. And all of them will come from private resources. Because we have institutions that are saying to us, we're dedicating this to you. Even when we're saying we're subnational, yeah, we know that you may need to get something from Federal Ministry of Finance and all that. But they say, okay, so while you are still trying to get all that ready, let's give you some financial instrument that assures your potential investors that there will be no defalcation and it will be on us. So he's just getting all the parties.
That's 3 trillion because it's basically $1 million per.
I'm
megawatt. That's like
I'm not even
$3
thinking
billion.
about its infrastructure. Remember, once infrastructure go, development follows. And we've gone around this circle long enough. $3 trillion,
$3 billion. Actually.
$3 billion in terms of the potentials for the city and the enhancement it will do to our people's income. You can imagine if the average cost of electricity goes down from 380, 500 to about 200, 300. It's a huge downward shift, a huge savings.
All right. So just to close, so since we now know that if all the stars align within 4 years, we estimate Lagos State will have 24/7 power. Who are now the key guys that, I don't want to say are blocking the way, that we need to get on board, and what do we need from them? I don't know if you want to maybe speak to the camera. So like, what exactly do you need from discos? What exactly do you need from transmission? Like, what do we need to do? What do we need them to agree on for this to happen? Because at the end of the day, it's going to benefit everyone, like you said.
See, the first thing is the discos need to chill.
Chill.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
They need to calm down. They need to understand that the business is a volumetric business. It's not nairametric, it's volumetric. and at the bottom of that is the possibility for all parties to play a win-win. And within that frame, the more supplies we're able to bring on the network without subsidy, and if they can get their cash promptly and on time. Yeah, I know about the premium that's associated with all the subsidy regime. But if all of us can just say, hey, let's do business for real, that will make a better day for all of us. And then, hey, we've stayed on these metering challenges for a while. We've talked all manner of stories to ourselves. I love restating my Akpata experience repeatedly. And I'm appealing that let all manner of small-scale franchisee that have 100 million, 50 million, to come do metering, improve networks so that downstream energy will flow. And once it flows, more money comes in, collection comes out, and the man is torchlighting all the neighborhood to be sure that nobody is stealing his electricity because he's paying against bulk meters. That will make the discourse and to be able to provide effectively supply that our people need. Now, in between the point where additional generation capacities are coming in and where we'll have the substation, distribution network and all that, there are loads of studies that we need to carry out. We have already commissioned GE, Innova. They are doing a lot of work for us. That simply means that when those studies are available, TCN and the discos cooperating with us, we can improve the various shortfalls identified so that evacuation of the additional capacity will not be a challenge. And once we're able to deal with that, now we have created energy hubs all over the city. These energy hubs are locations. So people will tell you there's no land in Lagos. No, stop lying to yourself. There's land in Lagos for electricity project. If you approach and we see your seriousness and all that, we will find it because there's a need for it. And it's very important, whatever. Governor Baji Sanwo-Olu will ensure that you don't take your project to any other state, but in Lagos. So we are able to ensure that whatever you need by way of land, transmission infrastructures and all that, we work with you to even find partners so that you can get it out of the window. Another amazing thing to everybody along the value chain is the willingness of financial institutions to support projects that are within this space of saying zero blackout within the Lagos environment. So it's not about calling
What
names.
about transmission?
I've just mentioned it. Okay. Studies will happen.
Okay.
Studies are already ongoing. Within the context of those studies, the shortfalls, the gaps, and the improvements we need to implement will be outlined. We have a partner that is working on ensuring that the funding required for those part of the work is positioned. So if that goes, if those assets are coming up and the studies go well, we should be able to say within that same frame, we're able to evacuate, we're able to put the additional supply that are coming on the local system, put them on the grid and make them available for our people to work.
One last thing. So I know I said one last thing. Is there, I know we had one time that Lagos State was considering having its own grid at some point so that it is not affected by all these grid collapses that we know we know what the problems are. Is this still something that's on the pipeline?
What is the use of a Lagos State grid that does not have assets to
ride on?
To ride on. So the thinking now is that TCN has already created massive assets within the environment. Okay. What those assets are lacking is the generation capacity for them to meet our needs. Okay, so as the generation capacities are coming on stream, we'll start building assets that will support what TCN already has on ground. If we don't do it that way, we just create a ring around the city. Fantastic, beautiful investment. But hey, is there any supply on them?
Yeah, so but what if, so it's the same thing. So the current grid still needs that supply anyways.
Yes.
So you put in the generation and then you feed it into the existing grid, which studies have suggested is probably weak. And then something happens in Sokoto or Owerri and then collapses the grid again.
No, it will not collapse it. And I will explain it to you now. When it is now 132 that we are supposed to be controlling. So the question now is, what is the governance rules? And how we link to the federal 330 and all that, whatever. Now, we are going to have a smaller assets serving as embedded assets.
Okay, so you have redundancies around it.
We have redundancies all over Lagos. So when there are issues at the federal level, our assets are working. And the governance will be within the Lagos grid. That is the true Lagos grid.
I see. All right, Commissioner, I have a feeling I'm going to bring you back here again because there's just so much to talk about.
I mean, it's been a while. I've not seen you in a while. I'm delighted to be here. Electricity is, if we get it right, to be a game changer for everybody.
I agree.
Everybody. And so, wow.
But before you go, though, if you were to, I'm sure my producer will allow me ask this question. If you were to list some of the successes so far, I mean, I know to a lot of people without saying like there's no success, but I think there's a lot of work behind the scenes that has gone on. So if you had to list the successes so far of the current administration in terms of power, whether it be the fight, be the electricity bill, what would you think are the high points?
The first one is the electricity bill of 2023, which Mr. President signed. I mean, he needs to be applauded repeatedly for that. That is a game changer. Okay. What we need is time to implement his provisions and for everybody to respect his provisions. That is one. The second thing is that more capacities are now available on the grid. It may just be like an additional gig. Hey, more is more. Now, the third thing is the number of state electricity regulatory commission that has come up and the issues they are bringing out of the field. I'll give you an example. Enugu scattered Maito. And everybody's saying, no, it's not. The truth of the matter is that we have not seen anybody challenge those assumptions in time past. And that is what decentralization will do to you over time. And we'll all
So do you support that though, what Enugu did?
People don't understand it.
I don't either.
Sir?
I don't either.
Okay, so Enugu says, what is the cost of your generation, which is delivered to Enugu via the federal network, 120 or 140 fixed amount. You know, Maito is a building block. Okay, that generation amount is fixed. We always remit that one. Distribution. You are supposed to have a couple of costs that goes into your own component, because after the generation cost, you have transmission cost, then you have the distribution cost. Distribution, give me the build-up for your
cost.
For your cost. Now, somehow, you gave cost that Enugu, the regulator, could not agree with. And they disallowed a lot of those expenses. Remember, when the regulator was Abuja, he probably does not have an idea of how much it will cost to rent a property in Enugu.
In Enugu, I see.
He doesn't have an idea of how much the flat of executives are in Enugu. And your Maito have very defined details as close as that. So, hey, what do? If Enugu disallows a lot of those ones, I said, this is the whatever. The right thing for them to do was to sit with their regulator and say, no, you didn't get this one right. We got this one. Okay, you missed it on this one. And they come to an agreement on what should be done. Then instead of that, they ran to NEC. And of course, NEC can't help them again. And at the end of the day, everybody has calmed down now and they are reviewing what has happened, and I believe it's a beginning. By the time all the states are revising their Maito order and all that, a lot of these issues will come up.
But the state also has issues. Some discuss have complained about right of way, multiple buildings that are not complying with land laws. So for that reason, they don't even. It's difficult to even estimate to even know the number of customers they have or properly meter their customers. Some have complained that transformers are being installed recklessly across states. What are states doing as well to align building regulations with the need for proper planning from an electricity perspective? Because, I mean, you've said it now, it costs a lot to deploy these things. But at the end of the day, electricity becomes cheaper if cost is lower. So how are states also helping to lower some of this cost of doing business?
Okay, I'll speak about my state. Okay, for the first thing we are doing is to make sure that our regulators are not sitting in a Kenya. We're going to have field offices all over. We're going to have inspectorates virtually in all wards. So we are going to be monitoring what the operators are doing out there on the field. And I'll be honest with you, the devil is in the details, and the details are on the street. So there is nothing we can do about it when it comes to electricity. It's a physical business. Now, the best person to deal with right of way matters are state governors. So if we can just have an alignment between the discourse and the state government apparatus, survey, land use, whatever title they are, if all of us can sit in a room and agree that this is important for us to deal with on account of the implication it has on the development within the states, we will go faster and we'll be able to achieve something better. So for me, the more reason why the value chain should be allowed to work within the context of decentralization, so that state governments can be held accountable and responsible for these challenges on the field.
All right. Thank you so much, Honorary Commissioner of Energy and Mineral Resources for Lagos State, Biodun Ogunleye. It's been a pleasure having you. Always appreciate you.
It's such a great time with you.
And hopefully I'll have you here again. This has been the Coffee Table with Nairametrics. This is an extended version. Of course, you have to be a subscriber to watch this version. A whole lot of stuff has been said here. As you've heard the Honorable Commissioner, there is a light at the end of the tunnel for the power sector if all the stars align as he has so described. If things work out well, 4 years, 24/7 power, we should look out for that. Thank you very much. Of course, subscribe to Nairametrics TV, hit the subscription button, and of course, like our post. And please, you can always check the Honorary Commissioner's LinkedIn page. He regularly updates there in case you want to follow what's development in the power sector. If you're a resident in Lagos State, you do want to follow his LinkedIn page as well. This has been a Coffee Table. Until we do this again next time, to have a profitable day ahead. Bye.